You're listening to the Night Demon Network. Go to nightdemon.net/subscriber to unlock more exclusive content.
Hello and welcome to the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast. I'm your host Nesbit, and this week we're continuing our deep dive into the history of Night Demon and the year 2013, which was a huge year for Night Demon with a physical release of their EP and a music video. This is Night Demon: The Early Years. So last episode, we heard how the band had decided that Night Demon was like full on. We heard how Jarvis, he had come to a turning point and there was no more side project, no more day jobs. You know, being a professional musician, specifically a member of Night Demon, was now his primary goal. And immediately this decision began to pay off when he received a letter in the mail on February 1st, 2013. Here's Jarvis Leatherby.
After I made the decision to go full speed ahead with Night Demon, everything had changed in my life. My attitude was different. The fear started to go away little by little. And just a few days after I made that decision and we played this show in LA, things started to happen. It was fucking crazy. I got an email out of the blue from a small record label up in the San Francisco Bay Area called Reinig Records. And it was this guy, Jojo Reinig. And he just wrote me a one-page letter on how amazing our EP was and what it had meant to him and how it connected to him as a metal fan. And I was in such an emotional state at this point that when I read this, I actually just started crying. It was like, it was crazy. And I remember calling John Crear right away and telling him about it. And he's like, man, why is this such a big shock to you? You know, this is the reason that I made you guys reform the band and that I'm playing drums in it, because there's something here. I've been trying to tell you this. And he's like, a lot of labels are going to want to sign this band. So don't be surprised by any of this stuff. We need to ride this out. And, you know, at that point, I was just like, look, this guy's the first guy that came to us. He knows what he's talking about. The things that he said in this letter, I mean, he was on the level. He understood. He was the right guy at the right time, and he said the right things. And he was going to put us out on vinyl. He wanted to put out a 7-inch record. And it was just like, to me, I was just completely blown away by it. And I think it was because, you know, I had changed my life so quickly, and to see things manifest so quickly after that was just like, it was almost a little bit too much to take at first. But, you know, I knew that it was real, and I knew that it's like, it's go time. It's kind of like, you know, if you're going to go to the gym or start a diet or something, everybody's like, oh, I'm going to do that tomorrow. I'm going to do that on New Year's. Well, I had made this decision. Like, my life changes today. And the rest of the universe basically just said, hey, look down, look at Jarvis has changed his life. He's ready for us to give Night Demon the opportunities that they've worked for. Let's see if they take them. And that's exactly what we did.
So I have that letter in front of me here. It's dated February 1st. And it says, dudes, let me first just say, wow, your heavy metal has blown me away and returned me to my youth, when metal was metal and it was all heavy. I thank you for that. Your band is mega awesome, and you guys have truly channeled the new wave of British heavy metal sound and feeling of old, which again has totally blown me away, and to think you're from California and not somewhere in Europe. I've lusted and waited for this day to come when a band of your magnitude came out of this state, and that day has come thanks to Night Demon. Now, let me get down to why I'm writing you today. My name is Jojo. I run a metal record label here in the Bay Area called Reinig Records. We specialize in vinyl releases, and we would love to work with you and press your EP onto 7-inch vinyl. We think and know that your killer heavy metal was made to be released onto vinyl. We'd also love to get your name out in such places as Japan, the rest of Americas, and all of Europe, and what better way than with vinyl? Just to let you know, we'd like to do 300 7-inch pressings of your EP, in which you would receive 50 7-inch pressings shipped to the doorstep of your choosing. If this interests you, please contact us and let's get to work on getting your EP pressed and out to the world. Thanks so much for your time, and I look forward to your reply. So only 3 days after Jarvis makes this decision to go full speed ahead with Night Demon, this letter shows up, which, it was like a sign from the universe that he's moving in the right direction.
So now that we had our EP coming out officially on vinyl, we were just going straight ahead with everything here. So we ended up booking a lot more regional shows. We were getting on the radar of a lot of other people. Our friend Eric Kudla was making these amazing flyers for us. We were doing these kind of regional tours, or we would just put out these flyers with some cool artwork with like, hey, here's the upcoming shows. So it's basically like Night Demon goes from a non-serious, just weekend project to a local band playing local shows here and there to a regional band that's playing shows throughout California. And we've got a physical record coming out. So we had done this for a couple months, and then things just kept flowing in. We got contacted by Tim McGrogan from Shadow Kingdom Records. And so Shadow Kingdom was one of the kind of biggest underground indie labels for traditional metal, for classic metal, for doom metal, stuff like this. And I mean, it was the same thing. I mean, he was just floored by it, and he loved it so much, and he was willing to put a lot into it. And I kind of had said, look, we had already agreed to put out this 7-inch vinyl with Reinig Records. And he said, well, let me at least do a CD version. So we were like, great. So here we go. We have, we've got one label putting out the 7-inch. We've got another label putting out the CD, and we have the stuff up digitally on our website and on Bandcamp. So it's kind of like, you've got the band, and then you've got two other labels that are each working independently and together to promote this release. So everybody has their own channels. So we're hitting it from all angles. And that really helps strengthen things versus, just being an independent band, putting out your own record. Nobody knows who you are. And you just kind of like the climb is a little bit slow. So when this happened, it was just kind of like, okay, this is fucking awesome. And, at this point too, I was also kind of transitioning and going like, hey, I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to be unemployed very soon. And so I started talking to Tim from Shadow Kingdom a lot. And I basically just, had him hire me to do certain things for the label. And what that did was, I got to take my experience in the music business and help out his label that was putting out our record. And I also learned a lot of things, and I got access to a lot more things. And it was just good. I knew that I had to immerse myself fully in the business side of things too for Night Demon to be successful, because at this time, you know, we didn't have a manager. I mean, we still don't. But we were really looking for a manager at this time because, you know, again, we just didn't know anybody in the metal scene. So we were kind of looking for people. And John and Brent had known a couple guys. This guy, Steve from Converse, who had helped out the fucking Wrath, he was trying to work with us. We did end up getting an offer from Prosthetic Records, but it just wasn't the right. I mean, it was really, it's a deal that you give an unknown band. And at this point, we had already had just these licensing deals with the 7-inch and with the CD version, and we still own the digital, and we still own the EP, and we really didn't really want to give that up just to be on a label at this point. So it's great. Now we're in a position where we actually have, you know, a little bit of choice. Not to say that we didn't sign any bad deals after that, but you know, we felt like we were in a better bargaining position, and you know, we were grateful for all offers that we had, and we you know, fully explored all the options of them. But you know, when it came down to it, since this was the only thing, well, you know, I still had the Heartbeats on the go, but that was winding down, and in 2014 that ended, which we'll get to. But you know, really the main focus was Night Demons, so I wasn't about to sell us out just to be on a label. Now, if you're in a band as a hobby or whatever, I mean, you can do those kinds of things, but this was now our life, and we had to find a way for this to at least get us by in some way. So we knew that as much effort as we were putting into this band, there was going to be something on the other side of it someday.
So February of 2013, lots of interest for the band, and they start thinking about cover art for the EP, and they continue to play shows all over California. So a lot of the flyers and show posters for these shows, and the letters from the record companies, and some early mock-ups for the EP cover, they're available in the subscriber section on nightdemon.net. But they accept the Shadow Kingdom offer, and they decide their next step would be a video.
After we got the Shadow Kingdom offer and accepted that, we decided what we need is a music video. We need something on the internet that shows the band playing that's not a shitty recorded live video. We need to record an official music video. We had zero money. We actually had less than zero. We had debts. So, I mean, personal debts. We didn't have any band debts. Well, shit, we might have. But making the video for the song Night Demon was one of the most enjoyable things that I've ever done in this band. John had been doing a lot of art for Numbskull Productions and doing a lot of the strip ads and flyers for shows. And so he was messing around with some digital art platforms like Photoshop. And he did have some video editing software, and he was making a couple little videos here and there. And he just said, hey man, let's, you know, we could probably edit something together ourselves. And so I had one of like the first iPads, and I said, you know what? You're right. We're going to shoot this ourselves.
Hey, this is John Carrar. So, making the Night Demon video. Well, we knew we wanted to make a video. We knew from the get-go, just like, we wanted to be slightly different, more than just a band playing on stage. We wanted to have lights. We wanted to have smoke. We kind of made the conscious decision not to wear band t-shirts when we played. And when it came time to make a video, we needed to make a video, and we were a do-it-yourself band to the bone. And so Jarvis got an iPad, the first iPad that any of us ever had. And so we got his iPad, and we set up our lights that him and Brent fabricated, put together, put some can lights on some wood, everything DIY. I mean, we didn't make the smoke machine, we bought the smoke machine, but we had our smoke machine in there, and our room is really small. We have like a I don't know, maybe a 20 by 20 foot room at most, maybe more like 15 by 15, not high ceilings. We put our banner behind the drum set, and we set the iPad up on the amps that were on the other side of the room. And, you know, we went through the song a few times.
So I downloaded this app. It was like, and it was meant to look like an 8mm film camera. It had all the noise and the distortion on it, and it just looked fucking awesome. And I was just blown away. I'm like, this is on my iPad. I mean, this is just fucking crazy. So we went to our small practice space at Rick Hunter's, and the very small practice space that we were sharing with John's other two bands. And we just went there on a weeknight, and we said, hey, let's just set this shit up, okay? So I had no stand for the iPad. On the iPad on this app, you can't zoom in or out either. So it was pretty tough because of the size of the room. So what we decided to do was, hey, we need to, I mean, we're doing this completely on our own. We didn't even have an extra friend there to hold the camera or anything like that. So we said, hey, let's just set up some different shots for this. So I kind of just, took out a pen and paper and wrote, okay, so we need a shot of the full band playing. We need a shot of just me singing. We need a shot of maybe my hands playing bass. We need a shot of Brent's hands playing guitar. We need a shot of John playing drums. And so what we did was we shot the full band first. So I had to put the iPad literally against the wall on top of a guitar case facing us. We couldn't see anything. We didn't have a monitor. The actual side of the iPad that you could see, that you can view was literally touching the wall. It was against the wall. We needed to use the front camera to get the good lens. The self camera is not going to do that. So we couldn't really see what was going on. So we just had to put it against the wall. And, I kind of, we filmed a little bit and it looked, okay, the whole band's in the shot. Great. Let's do one for real. We put the song on our shitty PA. We put tape on John's drums and a cymbal so it would kind of muffle it. And we just blasted the song and we just pantomimed to it and played to it. And then I said, okay, good. That's a take. Let's do another one. This one is going to have me and John in it. Brent, now you have to hold the iPad. So we did a whole take. Then it's like, okay, here's me singing. Brent, you hold the iPad in front of me. John, get out of the shot. We did one for Brent when he was ripping his solos. I was literally laying on the ground on my back with the iPad in one hand and the smoke machine in the other hand. And I was tilting the smoke machine up. It was just blasting him in the face with this fucking toxic fog, right? And John was engaging it. He was holding down the button to release all of this smoke. And so it was really a team effort.
We would, then Jarvis went through his, and I would hold the iPad and film him and do the close-up on him singing, do the close-up on bass. Then the same thing with Brent, get the close-up on guitar, close-up on him playing. And then with me, I think Jarvis might have been filming me playing drums, getting close-ups of me playing drums. We got all the footage together, and we smoked out our room so hard. We had to stop a couple times because it got too smoky. And we had to open the door, and, it was just too much. And then we got all our footage. We did the song, a bunch of times, so that we'd have a bunch of footage to pull from. And then we went to my house, and I think what happened, I think I might have done a first edit on it. We put it in iMovie, and I kind of got the basics together and sent it to everybody, I think. And then Jarvis and Brent came over, and we fine-tuned all the cuts, all the edits, the split screen with the guitar and the bass, and we did all of that stuff.
We ended up with I want to say 8 to 10 different angles. And we went to John's house the next night and edited it in one night. And it came out fucking amazing. We set up our red lights and that's it. We had 3 red lights and an iPad and we just did it all ourselves. And still to this day, I mean, man, having this video, it's one of the coolest fucking looking things. And it really captures what the band was at that time.
So some punk rock DIY attitude and some hard work, and Night Demon creates a pretty great looking music video. And you can see all of these unedited takes that Jarvis was just talking about, all the takes from all the different angles in the subscriber section on nightdemon.net if you want to check that out. But the full video is available on YouTube and it looks pretty cool. It's a great official video intro for the band and their namesake song, Night Demon.
So wander in the dark because we will find you. Beware of our fight 'cause we are the Night Demon. Night Demon.
After we did the video, we were just playing some regional shows, playing some local shows. It was early in that year. I think we played 118 West, which was like a really big venue, which we definitely didn't belong there. But we played again with the band Castle and our good friends Blasting Concept. That was a really interesting show. You know, not many people were there, but the stage production was crazy and the lights were nuts and the sound was huge. And like, it kind of gave us a little bit of taste of kind of where we wanted to go. Obviously have some people in the room, but yeah, you know, I mean, we were, you know, at this point, you know, we had the EP coming out on a couple different labels. We had made this DIY music video. And although, you know, I had a plan to quit my day job and do this full time. You know, Brent and John still had jobs. They had to support themselves too. They weren't willing to go a homeless bum like me. Well, not quite yet. Brent would eventually get there in the slums with us. But I remember this show at 118 West. Actually, there's a not too proud story I have about this. It's kind of funny though. I believe I talked about it in the podcast episode where I went to the youth prison to speak.
So if you remember, the incident Jarvis is talking about is when he was brought into a youth prison to speak to the kids. So after being interviewed and having a background check and getting fingerprinted, Jarvis went inside to talk to these teenage kids about music and being a musician.
I will say one incident that I'm not very proud of now. There was a kid in there that ended up recognizing me. And the reason he recognized me was because prior to me going there and prior to him being locked up, Night Demon played a show at 118 West in Simi Valley. And it's a beautiful concert venue, but there wasn't many people at the show. I remember vividly smoking a joint outside, and two kids had walked up and they said they were fans of the band and they were at the show, and they were actually really, really cool kids. They were really nice kids, but I ended up smoking them out. So, you know, I'm inside the prison walls and I see this kid and, you know, he looked familiar. I didn't really recognize him right off the bat. I just think I was caught off guard, but he started, you know, mentioning, man, that was so cool when you smoked me out, man. And, you know, I was trying not to draw any attention to that, but I was like, look, man, just stay cool. All right. Just stay cool. We're not going to talk about that here. So, you know, I guess, I mean, I hope that I've grown up a bit since then. But it's one of those classic things, you know. I mean, looking back, it's not my proudest moment, but it did happen, and that is the real world. I was not the one that made this kid end up in jail, but I definitely could have been a better influence. And I when I went in to talk to the kids, I definitely thought about that at the end of the day and have done my best to be a better influence for the youth. But I digress.
Hey guys, Nesbitt here. If you would like to support Night Demon and this podcast, the best way to do it is to become a Night Demon subscriber. Not only will you be doing your part to support a true heavy metal band out there really living it, you'll also gain access to a ton of extras. Bonus audio content, a subscriber-only merch store with rare items from the band's archives. You can stream never-before-heard demos and unearth live concerts from the live vaults. Communicate with the other Night Demon diehards on an exclusive subscriber forum, and gain early access to all press releases, album pre-orders, new merchandise, and a ton more. And another thing that I think is pretty cool is Night Demon will be donating 10% of every subscription fee to the Metal Cares Foundation, which is a charitable fund the band started in 2014 to aid those in our metal community. So head over to nightdemon.net/subscriber and join us as we make heavy metal history together as one. And on a side note, I'll personally think you're a grade A badass. So as Night Demon starts to ramp up and their trajectory gets more intense, the band starts to do more and more promotion. So there's new merch, including the first ever Night Demon stickers. And April 6th, 2013, Night Demon does its first official interview for MetalSquadron.com. So one thing you noticed in this first interview is the band has a narrative that they kind of stick to at this point. It's a sort of backstory for the band. So Jarvis Leatherby, he's new on the scene. There's no mention of Jeff Hershey and his long history of playing in bands and making music. Here's a quote from this interview from Brent Woodward. Night Demon is actually Jarvis's first band. He's self-taught. I know he spent a lot of time listening and singing along to Diamond Head and Darkstar records when he was growing up, so starting this band with him was a no-brainer. His voice fits the style perfectly. So you can see that they're running full-on with a Jarvis Leatherby persona. I love also at the end of this interview, there's a quote from Jarvis where he refers to the band by saying, "We're a three-headed beast." I thought that was pretty cool. And a few days later, another interview with Brent Woodward appears where he has this to say about Night Demon and their song subject matter. We usually write about subjects that fit with the feeling of the song. Satan has been a big topic. Heavy metal and Satan go hand and hoof, so to speak. They just fit so well together, so why not continue a theme that so many bands before us have done? We're not a political band or have any type of message to send. Not that we don't have our own opinions on politics and whatnot, we just think it's better not to force feed our views on metal fans who just want to enjoy the music. I think that fantasy topics make the music more fun and enjoyable. I got a kick out of that when he said, heavy metal and Satan go hand and hoof. I thought that was funny.
I recall from then on, we started actually doing interviews and stuff. Like webzines would hit us up and magazines from Europe would start, finding us on Facebook or whatever and asking us, hey, I like the EP. I'd like to do some interviews. So people were hearing this online, I think probably through Bandcamp or our website. Word started to travel fast. But what really happened was there was a guy in Sweden who goes by the name of Strapato. And he had some kind of metal website. I think he still does. And this guy is just one of those internet guys that just, he'll find things. He'll find everything. And he'll find it online. And he's got some reach and he's able to expose that a lot of true metal fans around the world kind of listen to his advice on things. And if he's going to publish something, then we know that it's legit, or the underground metal community would definitely go off of his recommendation as like, this is something cool. This is not something commercial or not the flavor of the week. This is like something that needs to be exposed, something that has some credibility. So he put this up on the HMR forum, which I think stands for Heavy Metal Records or something, or Heavy Metal Reviews. I'm not sure. And just things started going from there. There was a guy from New Wave or BritishHeavyMetal.com that also helped out. That site is now defunct, but we actually tried to, on our own, shortly before. Actually, I think this might have been in the previous year before we were taking this seriously. We sent this guy the digital EP and told him it was a band from 1981 or 1980 or 79. I can't remember what we said, but like we said that, hey, we found this. We basically found this old, new wave of British heavy metal band that just never got out of the garage. And he was like, bullshit, I know all bands. And we're like, yeah, but, this one just slipped through the cracks. It really did nothing. They didn't even go and play shows or anything. And so, we want to see if you want to kind of, publish it. It's a band called Night Demon. And he was like, bullshit, I know all bands. And we're like, okay, whatever, man. And he's like, well, just send it to me. So we did. And he was immediately like, tell me everything you know about these guys. And that's kind of when we were honest about it. But, we told him, okay, here's the truth. It's us, and we're a current band from California. At the time, we thought it was pretty funny. And actually, it was a good test. It was a good test to see if we did a good job of writing some modern classics, right? And recreating a sound from a bygone era. And we did. But back to Strapato. So when this guy in Sweden, he got a hold of us and asked if he could publish the EP on his page and stream it. And we're like, yeah, we didn't care. We're like, yeah, sure. We had a couple deals with those smaller labels, but we still own the digital rights. So we're like, yeah, let's just go ahead and spread it. The very next day, I get an email from Oliver Weinsheimer at a festival in Germany called Keep It True. And I had no idea what Keep It True was. And he basically invited us to come and play in Germany the following year. And I think it was like, a year in advance. I definitely know it was over a year in advance because I was, he sent me the poster for the current lineup of that year that was coming up. I think it was probably a month out from when he called. And I mean, the lineup was insane. You had bands like Holocaust, Angel Witch, and then some of our contemporaries, High Spirits, Midnight, bands like that, Borrowed Time. A lot of those bands were on the bill. I think that was 2013. Yeah, it was. Obviously, we're talking about 2013, right? That year of the festival, the lineup was just incredible. And I remember I kept begging him. I said, can we please play this year? Can we play on this year? Can we play on this lineup? I mean, just the bill was insane. And it was like a dream bill for us. And he's just like, no, it's locked in. I book it over a year in advance always. And no, but we want to have you out here next year. And I think we got paid I don't know, a couple $100 or something, which, I mean, rightfully so. We were nobody. I mean, we were actually the opening band on the festival that following year. But we'll get into that later when we get to that point. So anyway, we started making some stickers and we had some T-shirts online and stuff. And, we would play locally. So there was this kid, Joel Lopez from Oxnard, California. So the neighboring city of Ventura. And I don't know, you probably saw the band some bar or something. But anyway, he ordered some shirts online and we sent them. And, at that time we were just sending stuff locally because the rest of the world didn't really know about us yet. And I remember, so this guy, I didn't even know him, this guy, Joel Lopez, he posts a picture on Facebook, tags Night Demon in it. A month later, he's at the Keep It True Festival and he's wearing a Night Demon shirt. And he's with all these other people wearing Night Demon shirts too. And I think I remember just a one of him wearing one. But I think he did say that he saw a lot of Night Demon shirts there, which was trippy. But, that was just a good thing. We felt that we were being well represented by our people from here that were going over to Europe to these festivals. And again, we had no knowledge of this stuff. I didn't know what Keep It True was, right? And it had been going on for years. So just to have the opportunity of this was good. So it's like a year in advance. We know that we're going to Europe. We've got our sights set on that. We've got to try and get a tour. We've got to get our record out somewhere in Europe, in Germany. We've got to make this happen. So, but it's nice to have, you know, some kind of focus and a goal so you can plan around it, right? I mean, like we had a whole year from this point, and you know, I plan on exiting my job, and that thing was happening, and you know, it seemed like, I don't want to say too good to be true. It seemed like, you know, things get scary sometimes, right? When they go well. It's weird. I think as human beings, we have this kind of self-sabotaging behavior. And, you know, if things keep going better and better and better and better, it's sometimes hard to understand, why is this happening? You know, but it's happening because you're focusing on it and you're actually doing stuff for it, right? Every day you just take a little step forward and you're working hard for the things that you want. And then doors start opening and people start coming to you. See, that's the thing. So, you know, we were just in our town, just doing our thing, doing what we wanted to do for us, and just kind of putting it out there into the ether that like, hey, this is available for anybody who likes it. And the people who liked it, loved it, and they wanted to participate with us. So so now we've got 2 small labels putting the record out. We've got a festival in Europe. We've got a ton of regional shows that we're doing here. The band's getting tighter. The band's getting better. And we're rolling on from there.
So big things are starting to happen for the band, and while labels and promoters are actively seeking them out, they continue to play around California, including 2 epic and memorable shows in Los Angeles on May 7th and May 8th.
So when I mention regional gigs, I'm not only talking about, you know, the Ventura area, Santa Barbara area, but I'm talking about LA. So based on our previous success earlier that year at the Down and Out, really the show that was the catalyst of why we're standing here today. You know, we started to try and go down to LA more, and we didn't get back down there until May of that year. But this was something very cool. We played at a place called the 5 Star Bar, and this place kind of became the home for newer trad metal bands that were touring. You know, I mean, at least it was one of them. It was a very small bar. You could probably pack 120 people in there. I don't know, maybe a little bit more of it packed. And, you know, it was downtown. It wasn't in the greatest area. But Cauldron, the Canadian band, was coming through town. And Cauldron were one of the first bands that we had discovered that were doing this kind of traditional metal thing. And they were also a 3-piece, which we thought was cool and we obviously identified with. And so Ex Mortis was on the bill, so we're hooking up with those guys again. We would end up playing many, many shows with those guys in the early days. So we had these 3 killer bands on the bill. I think there was actually some more. But I remember, I think we were like I don't think we were the opening band. I think we were like the second band, second out of 5 bands. And, you know, we went out there to impress. And I think we did. The thing though that really got me, the thing that really affected me the most in a positive way is that this was the first time that we'd played live where people were in the front and they were kind of going off, and most importantly, they were singing the words, and they were singing them loudly, and they were singing them back to us. And you know, I had to check myself at one point because I was like, okay, are they singing, you know, did they hear me sing a chorus and now it's that catchy that they got it and now they know it to sing it the next time? No, like they were singing the verses and singing the words in real time. And I was just like, how is this even happening? You know, our 7-inch isn't out yet. The CD's not out yet. I know we have some stuff on our website, but I mean, really, it's like, I don't even know if they made a damn flyer for this show. I mean, I'm sure they did, but it's like, you know, it's not like the LA Weekly's writing like, hey, Cauldron's coming to town and Night Demon, the second band on the bill, you know, playing early, you know, please go check them, visit their websites. And no, that's not happening. So after we played, you know, selling some merch, I think we had like 2 t-shirts at the time or something, some stickers, but, you know, people come up, start buying shirts, and I start talking to people that I'm recognizing in the audience. And I'm like, how do you know who we are? I mean, how do you know? And the simple answer was Strapato. It was a guy in Sweden who had put this stuff on his website to reach people that were in our backyard. I mean, it's insane. You could say what you want about technology, about the, you know, our loss of attention span or our inability to focus or, you know, our lack of work ethic or whatever it is. But, you know, we evolve as a species, and when you can use technological advancement to your advantage, it's a total game changer. And that's what this was for us. I mean, it was somebody else doing it, you know, so it was us doing it indirectly, but it's things like this that I really do appreciate. Being able to get this message out now to all the fans and friends, you know, just about the history of the band. It's another blessing of technology. But I digress. LA, this is where it's at. The cool thing, there was a guy, Arturo, that used to come to all the shows. Well, I think he still does go to most of the cooler LA shows, but he would always film the shows and he would give us copies of the video, you know, and there's a reason why we have so much video content from the early days, and it's because of him. So I thank him for that. But I know for sure there's full video of this entire show floating around. But I remember hanging out with the Cauldron guys that night and meeting those guys, and they were just so fucking nice, and they were just so cool, and they were all kind of doing it for the same reasons we were, and we were just proud that there was somebody. I mean, even though they were from Canada, you know, I mean, from you know, the East. I mean, they were from, you know, they were thousands of miles away from us, but you know, them going on tour and getting in a van and coming through town, that really just, it showed us a lot. You know, it really proved to us that, you know, hey, these guys are doing it, bands are doing it. You know, I was already willing to start back at square one and be at the bottom to climb up, you know. So that really inspired me, you know. And, you know, the Ex Mortis guys who we started to hang out with a lot, you know, they were doing tours too, and they were on a cool label, and they were making records, and they had a good manager, and you know, they were doing a ton of local LA shows, and they were doing really well. So we had a kind of camaraderie here, and that was just another milestone, another big step for Night Demon. You know, just going to play a small shitty bar on a weeknight is just, it's sometimes game changing. And you know what? In LA, you never know who's there. I mean, I've played some of the worst dives or been to some of the shows, some shows in the shittiest conditions and neighborhoods in LA. And it's like, oh, yeah, there's so-and-so. You know, the people who love music will go see it wherever, whether it's somebody in a bigger band or, you know, whoever. But actually, this was the very show that was the catalyst for us meeting our future roadie and current, you know, he was a journalist at the time, Andrew Bansal. He ended up writing a review about the show, and I saw it published the next day, and he said a lot of good things about us, especially compared to the rest of the bands on the bill. And it really resonated with me. And I just thought to take the initiative, and I just kind of found him online and reached out to him and said, hey, what's your t-shirt size and address? And he told me, and I sent him a shirt and said, hey, thanks for a great review. And that's how we got talking. It's all history from there. And we're definitely going to be talking a lot about Andrew Bansal.
So that's it for this week. And I know I'm always mentioning the subscriber section on 9demon.net, but there's so much bonus content in there, and we keep adding more and more stuff every week. There's just a ton of content. So from this week, we have the early mock-ups of the Night Demon EP cover art, the unedited takes from the different camera angles that they recorded when they made the Night Demon video, and there's a never-before-seen early cut of the Night Demon music video. There's a full video of the show from May 7th, 2003 at the 5-Star Bar in Los Angeles, and a full photo gallery of the show. There's show posters and flyers from all the shows we talked about. Those letters from the record labels, they're up there. There's even some original Night Demon stickers for sale in the subscribers only store. The amount of material on the site after doing 67 episodes will blow your mind. There's demos, live tracks, rarities, photo galleries, posters, live videos, interviews, limited edition merch. There's even some bonus mini episodes of the podcast up in there. So there's just so much content. And I guess that's why I'm always bringing it up. Until next time, this is Nesbitt signing off.
Thanks for listening to the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast. Head over to nightdemon.net, click on the subscriber tab, and sign up to access exclusive weekly bonus content. If you would like to donate to support the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast, you can do so through PayPal at paypal.me/nightdemonmetal. Additionally, if you have not already done so, please subscribe, like, rate, and review the show on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts.
All hail, Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast listeners. This is Dusty Squires chiming in to tell you about my brand new signature sticks from the London Drumstick Company. I've dreamt of having my very own drumsticks ever since I was a wee lad, and LDC made that a possibility for me. Founded in 2016 in London, England, the birthplace of heavy metal, the London Drumstick Company has trailblazed a path through the music industry and taken the drummer world by storm. When I met them for the first time, they knew their product was going to withstand the beatings of a Night Demon show. They took the time to work with me on getting everything just right. The balance and weight of my sticks are the same no matter what, and the durability is bar none the best I've ever had. I know my sticks will last through the set night after night. I'm truly honored to work with a company that caters to their players the way LDC does. Their innovation and attention to detail is what separates them from the rest of the stick makers out there. Their custom stick sleeves are unbelievable and really make the entire presentation complete. Wait until you see the design they came up with for me. It blew my mind and was a surprise to say the least. They have all kinds of amazing swag, including hoodies, t-shirts, drummer shorts, drum keys, stick bags, towels, face masks, practice pads, and much, much more. Even if you're not a drummer, you can be a part of Demon history and order my brand new signature sticks direct from their website. How cool is that? And to top it off, the London Drumstick Company are giving an exclusive offer to the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast listeners. Go to londondrumsticks.co.uk and receive a 15% store-wide discount using promo code DEMONSTICKS. All capital letters, no spaces, Demon Sticks. DEMONSTICKS. I can't thank everyone there enough for the opportunity to be a part of their family and for them trusting me with their amazing products. See you metal maniacs on the road very soon. And yes, the wood chips will be flying.
Greetings, boils and ghouls. This is your comrade, the Crypt Keeper here, reporting dead from the sanctuary of the strange. Tonight's macabre myth is a fright-filled feature, one overflowing with monsters, madness, and magic.
Visit our website at monstersmadnessandmagic.com to stay up to date on all the dark dealings within the sanctuary of the strange. Enjoy the show.
Hey Metalheads, I'm Mark and I host the Metal Forge. Let me tell you about the show. The Metal Forge features the best underground metal from all over the world. We spend every week with a different artist with interviews, in-depth conversations, and most of all, the music. We also feature audience interactivity where you can submit your questions to the upcoming guests. New episodes are out every Friday at noon Eastern Time at metalforgeradio.com or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Want to know what's going on in the world of music? Then tune in to the Nothing Shocking Podcast, a non-genre based, all-ages friendly rock and roll program. Join us weekly for interviews with all your favorite rock stars from the mainstream to the underground. You can find us at nothingshocking.libsyn.com or anywhere you download podcasts.
Okay, metalheads, you've been complaining that there has not been a channel that plays all of the heavy metal videos from past, present, and future for years and years at this point. Well, that time is over. Heavy Metal Television is back. HeavyMetalTelevision.net is the website. Go there. You can see videos playing 24/7, 365, all the time, all the best from the old school, the new school, and everything in between. Check it out, HeavyMetalTelevision.net. It is where the metal is.